heart of the reed is, well, it's the heart of the reed. I use it to control resistance and stability and flexibility, and this area really dictates how hard you have to blow to play the oboe. Hi, I'm Jennet Ingle, the 5-Minute Reedmaker. I'm here today to talk about this crucial part of the reed. The heart is, of course, this area below the tip and above the windows. I think of the tip as providing the response of the reed. The windows provide the resonance. But the heart gives me resistance, for better or for worse. It's certainly the thickest part of the reed. How thick, exactly? I very rarely use this device, this micrometer. I tend to make my reeds by feel and, by smell a little bit. But I know people who are obsessed with these numbers, and it's hard in an iPhone video to show exactly how thick or how thin something is. So what I've done is I've measured all of the hearts of all of my own reeds, the ones I actually play on, and I find, first of all, that there is generally a little tiny bit of slope from the base of the heart, right above the windows, out to the tip of the heart by, 200ths of a millimeter or so. And that my hearts seem to be in the center, averaging right around 46, maybe 40, between 45 and 47. Again, measured in hundredths of a millimeter. Here I am at 47. Toward the tip, it's closer to 46, maybe. It's not an exact science, obviously, and this is going to depend from reed to reed. On the cane, 51 there at the back, going rapidly down to 47. So as I said, I'm averaging between 46 and 48 in the center of the heart. It's going to depend on how hard the cane is. It's going to depend on how much you've scraped in every other region of the reed, but that's sort of basically the number that I'm looking at. Here, for example, is a reed in which I intentionally made the heart much too thin. You can hear not only how easy it is to play, but how very unstable it is. I can use my lips to alter it in a million ways, only some of which are attractive. And there's a telltale whine to the sound. Now, if I want to improve this reed, I can work in all of the other areas of it to make the heart think that it's thicker. So, for example, I'll scrape in the tip quite a lot to make sure that the tip is as much thinner than the heart as possible. It's really all about proportion here. I'll also work behind the heart, making sure that the back is much, much thinner than the heart. And I'll do the same thing on both sides. Even though I want the tip to be super thin, of course, I'm never going to work directly in the middle of it. I'm always on either side. But I'm going to be more aggressive with my tip than I might otherwise be. Scraping behind the heart. Then obviously I'm going to clip quite a bit. A reed like this is one I actually see fairly often. When students show me their reeds, the tendency is that they haven't taken enough cane off of the tip early on, and then to get vibration going, they go to the heart. And by the time the reed is actually vibrating, it sounds sort of like what I just played. It's got this whine to it. It's got a lot of instability because they never really did get their response going in the tip first. Sorry, one more clip on this. This reed may still be easier than I want, but at least it's a balanced reed now, and it's one that I actually could play. Here, in contrast, is a reed in which the heart is much too heavy. I've scraped thin everywhere else, but you can hear in the crow that there's no depth, and as I play it, you can hear that there's no real fluidity. Just a sec, let me get it on the oboe. It works, right? Because I've scraped the tip and I've scraped the back, but it's not really going. But as soon as I take wood carefully off the heart, you will hear the difference. What I like to do when I'm working in the heart is to work from the left across the reed to the right. It's really the only place on a reed where I ever allow myself to scrape directly in the center, and even then only on my way from the one side to the other side. So I bet already you can hear more depth in that crow, and when I do the other side, you'll be even more impressed. Left, across, and the right. Now when I put that on the oboe, now I have room to clip, which is great because you notice that my corners weren't so very lovely. So I've recollected the reed just a little bit. And now it feels like it's pretty well put together. Here's even a third reed, which still has a pretty heavy heart. I wanted to talk really briefly. When I scraped that previous one, you saw that I started all the way on the left and I came all the way across to the right-hand side. And in that way, I removed the bark altogether on the sides of the heart. That is a normal thing for me. I tend to prefer the way the reed sounds when I take off that bark. I get more fluidity, moving from note to note. I get a little more depth, and it seems to bring the pitch down a little bit. But sometimes I have students who want the pitch to stay where it is, but they need the resistance to go down. And in that case, I might scrape in the channels of the heart, here and here, rather than all the way across the heart. So here this is before I scrape. You can hear the weight in there. And now what I'm going to do is scrape between the bark and the spine on both sides. So I'm taking wood off the heart, but not changing anything about the structure. You heard that brought the crow down, so I can clip. That's always the goal. Whenever I scrape, I'm looking to lower the crow. And now when I play it, now that reed works really nicely. For me, it has a little bit of an up quality. There's not quite the depth of sound I like. So out of curiosity, let's see what happens if I now take the bark. I've already scraped the channel, so I've weakened the heart a little bit already. But now I'm going to take the very sides. Nothing else. I'm leaving the rest of it alone. And see if that does indeed bring the crow down. Yup. So now I can clip again. Ooh, that feels really, really nice to me. So there's the difference between taking out the channels of the heart and taking out the bark on the sides of the heart. In an ideal world, my long scrape leaves the heart just heavier than finished, and one tiny polish gets us the rest of the way there. In the real world, people often miss this perfect measurement and go too far or not quite far enough, and it's sometimes not at all obvious which part of the reed to scrape when you get close to finishing. When my students come in with a reed that they say is too hard, I ask them if the reed is too hard in the response or in the sustain. If they say response, I scrape the tip. And if they say sustain, I scrape the heart. Oboists who are listening, you know that distinction. You can feel it really, really easily. Even my youngest students who haven't started like speaking the language of reeds are able to analyze that inside their mouths really easily. So that's an easy way to tell the difference between which thing needs to be scraped. This has been a 5-minute Reedmaker lesson. You can follow these short videos right here on YouTube, and you can subscribe if you wish. If you have questions or concerns, or you want to order reeds or cane, you can find me at jennetingle.com. In fact, I would love to hear what else I can help you with and what my next short video should address. Do let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.